Well, it's Saturday, and you all know what that means. If you probably know right about now, Stardom, as you know, are on the road to the All-Star Dream Queendom. However, they make a pit stop, of course, at Korakuen Hall, featuring the finals of the Rookie of Stardom, who will walk out as this year's Rookie in Stardom. And then we have other preliminary matches taking place are involved, of course, for the upcoming All-Star Dream Queendom, and we're going to see how things will go from there. And then finally, as you know, AEW Collision, my bad, are, as you know, they're one day away from, of course, Dynasty. So we'll see how things roll up. But however, we do have the AEW World Trios titles on the lines. Jet Speed and Mystico defend them against the Dogs. We even have, of course, Megan Bain and Nina Cross in action, and plenty other matches as well. One, of course, particularly our main event, is the Brawling Birds, who are in their individual matches also. Well, they get their hands on Marina Shafir and Tekla. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then, as always, we'll wrap up our episode, as usual, with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also could do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this video, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So let's begin with Stardom. Okay, Stardom in Korakuen Hall. As you know, this is the much latest event that they put out. This is, of course, before as we head to the All-Star Dream Queendom real soon. And I'm sure a lot of anticipation is going to be taking place on this one. Now, we do have a pre-show match that took place. We have Ana Kanaya teaming up with Motoi Hamabe. They take on Akira Kurigani and Tabitha. Now, obviously, we know that Ana Kanaya and Motoi Hamabe they both, as you know, were gone for months, and they once again teamed up. But I would say that, this was a very interesting one because we have seen Tabitha make various appearances in Stardom time and time again, and once again, she proved exactly who she is when she put Hamabe in a submission, and just like that, she had no choice but to tap out. Now, our opening match, well, we have Fuwa-chan taking on Starlight Kid. Now, if you guys remember, a few days ago, of course, Fuwa-chan, as you know, has disappointed her mentor, or should I say her senpai, of course, Hazuki. However, Starlight Kid decided that she needs a little wake up call, because she told her that results are everything. Basically, she needs to pick up wins, and that's exactly what she needs to do, because she's gonna face Sayuri Anu, who is no slouch whatsoever, and not to mention she picked a fight with her. So basically now she has to get through someone who is, how do I say, even tougher, you know, Starlight Kid. And that's one of the things. I'm sure she knew exactly what she was getting herself into, but she had no idea exactly what the outcome was going to be until, of course, Starlight Kid put her in a moonsault, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. But of course, Sayuri Anu was watching. I'm sure she's trying to see exactly who she is. But that's how things rolled up from there. Now, our next match, we have Waka Tsukiyama and Xena. They take on God's Eye, consistent of Lady C and Hina. Now, obviously, we know that Waka and Lady C know each other pretty well. Obviously, because they first met back in 2021 during a tag team tournament. And, of course, they were known as C Moon. But now they're the opposite side of each other. And, of course, you would have assumed that Waka and Xena, as you know, since they have good cohesion, they would have picked up the win. But no, it was in fact Hina with the ghetto clutch onto Waka, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, done. Now our next match, well, this one's a very interesting one. We have Rian and Hanako teaming up with Maki Ito. They take on Mi Vida Loca, consistent of Izuki Aoki, Rina Yamashita, and Suzuki. Now, obviously, we know that Hanako has her fair issues with Mi Vida Loca. Maki Ito and Rian, as you probably... Well, Rian, we know she's been involved with the war with Mi Vida Loca. Maki Ito, well, she just was plus in there, you know, for obviously. But, however, it was Rian who ended up on the wrong side of the B driver by Rina Yamashita, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next match, we have Stars, consistent of Momo Kogo, B Priestley, Saya Ida, and Hanan. They take on God's Eye, Kyoka Kotatsu, Rana Yagami, Tomoka Inaba, and Shuri. Now, obviously, there's no storyline in this one whatsoever, because we would have expected it, but no. The match was pretty good. I mean, we know exactly the strength and weaknesses from everyone in this match. But in the end, it was in fact Shuri that picked up the win onto Momokogo when she put her down. 1, 2, 3, done. However, she did mention about, of course, the IWGP Women's Championship may be defended at the All-Stars Dream Queendom. I'm not sure yet, but we'll see how that plays out too. Now, our next match is a very special one. As you know, we are on the road to retirement for Saki Kashima. Well, this time she will be in a trios match. The opponents are none other than the returning of Unagi Sayaka, who is, many of you know, as an original member of Cosmic Angels. She teams up with Mei Sita and Maika. Now, what I find interesting is, who could forget that Maika, as a former member of DDM, they used to be rivals, and now they're teaming up. But this match was never about, you know, their old rivalry. This is about Saki Kashima. As you know, Saki Kashima teams up with FWC, Koguma, and Azuki. This was something she wanted, and you know, because I understand later that she asked for this one. She wanted to team up with them one last time before everything's over. And I thought there was some good matches at moments. I mean, poor Kashima, she was like the talk of the match, you know. And all that, but Unagi tried to play her usual shenanigans, you know, with the rubber band standing and try to hurt her, but that backfired on her. But unfortunately, somehow Unagi was able to, how to say, counter the Kishi Kase from Kashima, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, our next match is the finals of the Rookie of Stardom 2026 tournament. Now, for those who don't know, this is for the wrestlers who are still the rookies, who are either below the age of 21 or they have above the 21 with 3 years of experience. Right now, our finalists, as you know, is Kikyo Furusawa and Emma Maishima. Now, what's interesting, these two ladies, as many of you may or may not know, they were, of course, the last one of the. They actually kind of almost debuted similarly, of course. And I have to say, it was very interesting to see them. Well, they came up around the same time, I believe. But yes, and I thought it was very interesting that we would have expected, like, let's say, Yuta Him or Akira Kurigani. I feel like those two would have been the most obvious choices to be involved in the finals, but no, it ended up with these two. I mean, I have to say Furusawa has been very impressive. I mean, she's shown a lot of submission techniques, and that really, really impressed me. But somehow Emma Maishima was able to apply like somewhat of a crucifix, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she's this year's Rookie of Stardom 2026 winner. However, well, you probably can guess that she will get her opportunity for the future belt, and that's exactly what Rana Yagami did when she first arrived into the ring. Well, that's how things were going to turn out from there. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, our main event has a preliminary match on this one too. As you know, we have O2 Line, Miyu Amasaki, and Azumi. They team up with the full force of the Cosmic Angels, Aya Sakura, Yuna Mizumori, Sayuri Anu, and Natsupoi, and of course, Sayaka Kurara. They take on Hate, consisting of Azusa Inaba, Fukigen Death, Rina, Raka, Natsuko Tora, Konami, and Sayakami Tani. Now, don't forget, O2 Lion have a shot for the Goddesses tag belts, of course, against Natsuko Tora and Roka, together known as BMI 2000. But however, Sayaka Kura is facing Kamitani for the red belt, putting the Cosmic Angels on the line. But of course, we know in recent time that Kamitani has able to pick up wins, and she is confident of saying, well, it's going to be over because I'm going to flip the switch. The Cosmic Angels will be no more, but Kurara put up a hell of a fight no matter what. Now, you would have assumed she would use whatever Tam Nakano would do. I mean, the Violet Knee Drive or the Violet Screwdriver, but it did not work. However, she went back using her usual move, which is the Tokimeki Spear, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, she picked up the win, and this was another big win for her, knowing she pinned the red belt champion, and I'm sure she's not happy with this. And Kurara, of course, she feels that she has the entire Cosmic Angels behind her back, and of course the fans behind her, because no one wants to see the Cosmic Angels go. But Kamitani is not going to let that happen, because Kurara said this: she only cares about the red belt. Kurara only cares about is Takozan, and that's exactly what Kamitani wants to use. But now, who knows how things are going to go as we head to All-Stars Dream Queendom. But for now, we are done with Stardom. Let's move on with AEW Collision. Okay, AEW Collision. Now, this was the final go-home show as we head to Dynasty, just to make things very perfectly clear. We opened up with the AEW World Trios Championship. The Dogs, Clark Connors, Gabe Kidd, and David Finlay challenge Jet Speed, Mike Bailey, and Kevin Knight, along also with Mystico. As you know, they've been aiming for these belts since they're starting making noise, and that's exactly what they were trying to do. Now, we would have assumed that Jet Speed and Mystico would have had everything under control to retain these belts, but however, the Dogs were just too much how they normally do with their usual tactics, more like, not cheating, but more like try to ensure they try to win them in every way possible. And they did that thanks to, of course, Gabe Kidd putting Speedball in a pile driver, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, new AEW Trios champions. However, Dogs! Yep. Roderick Strong, along with Orange Cassidy, as you know, they felt like this whole thing between them is not done. So they are going to look for a man to challenge them for the Trios belt. Orange Cassidy was on the phone, but I don't know who it was. I mean, I would say it has to be Kyle O'Reilly. I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what I was thinking. So we'll see what happens when that day happens. Now, we did hear from Will Ospreay right after what happened in Dynamite, along with the United Empire, of course, sending a direct message to, of course, to Jon Moxley and the rest of the Death Riders. As you know, no one expected, even Cal Newman, as you know, when he said he ask his big brother ask him for help? Well, they came to help him, and that's exactly what he wanted to do. And we'll see more of them, hopefully. Now, we have Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida teaming up. They take on Gigi Ray and Ava Lawrence. Now, obviously, Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida, well, let's just say we know their history. Back in the day, we know ever since Chris Statlander has challenged Hikaru Shida for the AEW Women's World Title. That kind of sets it up right there between their past. But however, Hikaru Shida has her own mindset, and that is, of course, the TBS title. And not to mention Chris Statlander's friendship with, of course, with Willow Nightingale. So you can guess. But however, this match ended with Statlander with the Saturday Night Fever onto Lawless. And just like that, 1, 2, 3. However, during the post-match, she was like not having it with Hikaru. She was like, nope, we're not friends. That sort of thing. But I thought it was great. Now, as we heard from Will Ospreay and the Death Riders, well, you probably can guess that Jon Moxley and the Death Riders had some things to say. And of course, Moxley's having a bit of fun about this, knowing that things have gone a little interesting for himself. So we'll see how things play out too for them. Now, our next match is for the number 2 spot of the Casino Gauntlet match that will take place for the TNT title. We have Rush versus Anthony Bowens. Now, we have seen Bowens. He is not the kind of guy who would, of course, be a killer like, of course, Hook, Shibata, and Joe. But he did brought out a bit of that aggression, that killer instinct that, of course, Hook mentioned. And that's exactly what it did. But it was not enough to take out with Rush because, as Rush would say, you get the bull. I mean, you mess with the bull, you get the horns. So, okay, we did get an interview with Lexi talking to the Brawling Birds. Now, not only the Brawling Birds, as you know, will be in Dynasty, but they will have their own individual matches. They're not just going to be like, oh, a tag team. We've seen tag teams where they can work as singles action. I mean, you look at the Lucha Brothers, they have that same type of way, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Don't forget, Alex Windsor is the current New Japan Strong Women's Champion. But however, their individualities of matches, what they're gunning for, well, we know Jamie Hayter is going after Tekla for the AEW Women's World Title. And of course, Alex Windsor wants a piece of Marina Shafir because, as you all know, her fiance, Will Ospreay, is at war with Jon Moxley. So basically, she wants to take care of business on that. So I'm excited to see what these two ladies can do, not only as a tag team, but also still as individual wrestlers. That's something I think we all need to take a look at. Now, we were fully aware that the Hurt Syndicate were returning, of course. Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin. They take on Andy Anderson and Mo Jabari. Now, I am familiarized with Mo Jabari, of course. I've seen him on Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling a lot. But yes, obviously this match was going to go with the Hurt Syndicate. And this ended with Shelton Benjamin applying a very strong super kick onto the face of Anderson. And just like that, by Shelton Benjamin, 1, 2, 3, done. Now, Lex Signier, let's just say that she saw a couple of down people, don't know what to do. Well, Mina Shirakawa, as you know, is trying to figure out what she's going to do without Toni Storm, since she's out for the rest of the year. And of course, Harley Cameron feels like, the Babes of Wrath broke up or something. So, Mina Shirakawa said they had one thing to do, and that is drink. But what's funny is that Harley Cameron took the bottle. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever seen those type of movies where they're like saying, give me the whole bottle, and they just drink it. That's what she did, and they were all like in shock that she actually chugged the whole thing. So I thought it was interesting to see Harley Cameron wallow out that way. Now, Our next match we have, of course, is the Young Bucks taking on members of the Don Callis fight, because, as you know, they'll be facing Kazuchika Okada and Takeshita, of course, and they have to deal with Hechiseto and Clone. But of course, that weasel Rocky Romero was right there ringside. But of course, he was dumb enough to get involved and got kicked in the face. But it was, of course, their finisher move that finished off El Clone. But it was Matt Jackson that picked up the win by pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Adios. Now, we do have the AEW International Championship. Kazuchika Okada defends it against Myron Reed. As you know, well, as probably can remember, it was the Rascals that kind of being blamed for Kyle Fletcher being injured out. And they decided Myron Reed, as you know, gets an opportunity to the belt. And I thought it was a very impressive match. But, however, he could not escape the Rainmaker. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was done. Now, Wilton Nightingale, as you know, is the current TBS champion. She is determined to defend this belt proudly. As you know, she had an impressive matchup in Dynamite. So we'll see how things will go from there. She mentioned that she wants to keep on fighting. And of course, the Divine Dominion will be having challengers taking their challenging them for the tag belts. Of course, Maya World and Hyen, who we've seen recently. Now, our main event is Tekla and Marina Shafir taking on the Brawling Birds. Now, remember, they will be facing each other in singles matches, of course. Marina will be taking on Alex Windsor, and Tekla will be taking on, of course, Jamie Hayter. And I thought the match was pretty good, and it showed that the Brawling Birds are still in unison, regardless of their individuality challenges they want to do. But, however, of course, it was in fact the 2 birds and 1 stone onto Marina that was taken out, but it was Windsor who picked up the win. 1, 2, 3, adios. Just like that, it was completely over. So I have to say, it was a pretty good event. I can't wait to see how things are going to go to Dynasty. So stay tuned for that. But as of right now, we'll end things here and move on, of course, with our last thing, which is news updates. So let's get to it. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin, of course, with upcoming events. Now, by this time this video out, it's been mentioned. Now, as you know, we had the Fantastica Mania USA taking place. They just announced Templario will be there, so that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, we do have, of course, 2 of the Las Vegas shows taking place. Ladies Night Out 16 on the 16th of April. Notorious Mimi, as you all know, she just recently got signed with the WWID, takes on J-Rod. No relations, in case anybody asks. And then, of course, we have Spark Yoshi Puroresu of America for Lady Luck 2 on the 19th of April. We have Arika Demia versus Kaya Mikana, and, of course, Super P. I don't even know who Super P is, but very interesting name. And then finally, House of Glory have another show taking place on June 18 called Inferno, and they just announced, of course, recently signed by TNA, Ricky Souza. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, our recent developments, we have 2 of them. As you know, recently TNA had to pull many of their talents who were already booked in the match against wrestlers from AEW. Now, we know that MJF thinks this is a lower horse crap coming from them. And, of course, it is, because they're treating this, like it's competition. Many wrestlers wanted to face them. MJF was looking forward to facing MJF, but that kind of got ruined. But this is exactly what Will Ospreay had to say about TNA behavior recently. Let's pull it up real quick. Here it is. The fact that WWE and New Japan let that match happen, and TNA of all people, who the F do you think you guys are? I'm sorry. All the effing talk that they're giving about being number 2, you get permission for these guys. to do the match and then pull them. I think that cowardly crap. I think that saying everything about what you view talent, you view them as less than AEW talent, and that they don't want to grow and they don't want to develop. They don't know how to give back to the fans. That's me being hard on TNA fan, being a TNA fan. Those beginning years of 0405 era will always be my favorite era in wrestling. But come on, we got the best guys from there. To be fair, I like Steve Macklin. He's sick. Hang your head in shame, honestly. Yeah, wow. So basically, Will Ospreay is like saying, you guys are taking this whole number two thing very seriously because it's true. I mean, look, if you remember back then, Eric Bischoff thinks that AEW is going to be removed out of the number two spot, and TNA would do that. Will be the number two, and it's a little horse crap. And even Silva said that he thought the same too. But now this is happening. But however, relation to what happened with the TNA pulling, WrestleCon had to make some changes regarding the match that was going to take place at, of course, at the March Hitchcock Memorial Super Show. This is what they said. It took some exceptions to make this match happen on our little independent show to honor our friend. And we want to personally thank Tony Khan and AEW for allowing this to happen. We lost our main event. We had several wrestlers, management agents, reach out to offer their helping hand. Thanks to everybody that's part putting on together. Now, what they later revealed that they changed, originally we were supposed to have Ricochet taking on Leon Slater. I mean, that would have been a hell of a match to enjoy. But no, TNA had to go on, put on the little diapers and cry about it and pull them off. So the idea, what they decided to put, is that the man will be teaming up, of course, Ricochet, Teo Leona, and Bishop Khan. They take on Michael Oku and Jet Speed. So that's going to be a good match. But like I said, it would have been a killer match with Ricochet and Leon Slater. But the problem is, I have to agree what WrestleCon's saying. It's really ridiculous what they were doing. They were honoring a friend. This has nothing to do with AEW and TNA. This is about putting on a show. And I think TNA, as you know, are forgetting you are putting good matches too. Why can't you let these guys do the same thing? AEW allowed the wrestlers to do that because they know that they're still wrestling. I mean, they do tell them, you guys are still working independence, but remember, we'll book you. You're still being booked for AEW matches. So that's how things are rolling from there. But we'll see what happens. We haven't heard anything from what Carlos Silva had to say from people who are right now currently pissed off and calling him a hypocrite and all that. But we'll see. But as of right now, let's call it a day. Alright, so I hope everybody enjoys this episode coming up. I made a judgment call for our next episode. I decided because recently something came up to my head. I decided, just focus on AEW Dynamite. Now, I know I missed out on TNA Rebellion. I apologize for that. I may do that on the following episode after this, after the one after the one AEW Dynasty. That's my initial plan right there. What I'm gonna do. I want to focus on that mostly, but we'll see how things will roll. Also, the news had been confirmed. I'll be doing a separate DWZ news update for all of you. Just to let you guys know, it was finally confirmed exactly what happened, and I said I'd rather see it than believe it. So, it happened. So, we'll get to that. Well, until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day. Bang.